this trip. We were traveling all across southern Ontario just a couple of weeks ago, and the weather was like this, and it's continued to follow us. So Dave, thanks for that kind introduction, and thank you, each and every one of you, for coming out this afternoon. Now we have an incredible team of candidates in the area. But you know what they've been talking about is what Catherine and I have been hearing as we go across Canada. That Canadians want change after 10 years. We were able to get Stephen Harper to admit last night that we're in a recession. That makes him the only Prime Minister in Canadian history. When you ask him about the recession during his mandate, he says, which one? 400,000 manufacturing jobs lost. Those are good paying jobs. Enough of a salary for a family to live on. 200,000 more unemployed today than when the crisis hit in 2008. And today's job figures are just devastating once again. This is the Conservative record under Stephen Harper. We have a plan to create jobs and kickstart the economy. Help municipalities with their infrastructure. Give a break to small and medium-sized businesses that create 80% of the new jobs. And you know what else we can do to help the middle class? Affordable, quality childcare across the country. So as you work as volunteers for these absolutely incredible candidates, when you phone your neighbors, when you're talking with your friends in the grocery store, when you're asking someone to take a sign, remember to tell them quality, affordable childcare is just one election away. I see our friends who are helping us in our campaign to make sure that the CBC is funded properly have come out in to remind you that the NDP is the only party to have a clear commitment to put back all of the funding cut by the Conservatives to the CBC. Stephen Harper cut $115 million in the funding to the CBC. I love it when the Liberals talk about that and rail against it. We get to remind them that they cut 3 times that. They cut almost $450 million when they were in power. We deserve a strong public broadcaster that will be there in the public interest. And while we're at it, let's ask Prime Minister Harper to accept the invitation of the consortium and take part in those debates. Out my ability to talk to you without a loudspeaker, but I wanted to say how thrilled I was to be here at the marina. Enjoy a fabulous weekend. It's your last one until October 19th. Thank you.
Let's go.
Our next Prime Minister. Whoa!
So I just wanted some clarity. So, as you know, historically the consortium debate reaches the most Canadians. So just clarify, you will not participate in the debate or any other debate if Harper is not there, or what exactly is your position on debate?
We've been calling for proposals. We've received a couple of dozen so far. What we've said is that we want to participate in more debates. We want there to be the same number of debates in English and in French. We have 2 official languages. One is not more equal than the other. They have to be equal. And of course, it just stands to reason that the person I want to defeat and replace is Stephen Harper, so I'll take part in the debates where he's present. Now, at the same time, the consortium is there. We've said that that should be part of the offer. We're more than willing to work and take part in the consortium debate. But we're also expecting Stephen Harper to say the same thing. For the time being, he's saying no.
So if Harper doesn't participate in any more debates, could last night be your only English debate during the entire campaign?
Well, I have every intention of taking part in other debates. We've received a whole bunch of other offers. Our conditions are essentially that the other leaders be allowed to take part. But it goes without saying that since Stephen Harper's the person I'm looking to defeat and replace, I'll take part in debates where he's present. Otherwise, it wouldn't make much sense, would it?
Jill Doucette is a bit upset that that the federal leaders debated sovereignty-related issues last night without him. Is that a discussion you think needs to always include him?
Well, you know, it's up to the people who are putting these debates together, but when I say that the other leaders should be present, that's exactly the type of thing that I'm talking about. I want the other leaders to be present. I think that Elizabeth May contributed a lot to last night's debate. And, I've put together a clear plan to bring in sustainable development legislation across Canada and enforce it. So this is the type of thing I like talking about, but again, we're asking the Prime Minister to accept the invitation from the consortium. We will be taking part in other debates, but we would especially like to make sure that the Prime Minister accepts debates the same number in French as in English.
But on Jill Doucette specifically, do you think he's right to be upset that the Federalist leaders debated sovereignty without him?
Well, you know, I think that that's why everyone has to be involved in these debates to the extent possible.
Hello, Dom. You did well there on stuff they're debating last night. You held your own.
Sorry, which media, just so we can identify?
Good.
Thanks. Any other questions from the media?
Right here.
Yeah, thanks.
You've keyed in on Stephen Harper's record on the economy. You are standing in a riding with a high jobless rate.
Yes.
What can you say to the people of this riding in terms of job creation and spurring on the economy if you are elected Prime Minister?
I believe in a strong role for the government in helping the private sector create jobs. Mr. Harper doesn't believe in that. That's why on his watch we've lost 400,000 well-paid manufacturing jobs across the country. And today's news is even more devastating. What jobs are being created tend to be part-time, low-paid, precarious jobs. That's no way to feed a family. We want to bring in a $15 an hour federal minimum wage. We don't think that anybody working full-time should live in poverty. But what we're also saying is we want to work with municipal and regional governments across the country to invest in infrastructure. That's a good way to start creating jobs. We want to give a tax break to the job creators. You know, small and medium-sized businesses create 80% of new jobs in this country. Woo! Giving them a tax break is a good way to create jobs. And when we talk about quality, affordable childcare, that's not just good for families. That's also good for the economy, because here in Ontario, families are spending up to $24,000 a year to keep a child in daycare, and that, frankly, is absolutely unaffordable for many young families. So these are the types of concrete things we're putting on the table to make life more affordable for the middle class. Instead of helping middle class families, Stephen Harper's actually made it tougher for them in Canada.
One more local question here.
Yeah.
Peterborough is known as a bellwether riding.
Yes.
Obviously, Dave's a very strong candidate. Do you like your chances here?
We love our chances here. Too heavily on the point, I can also say that the Conservative track record in this region with their past is something that makes people here really strongly desire change for the better. On va les saluer un petit peu les gens. Hi. How are you?